my first year of tree planting. Every good story starts with a tree planting reference in the tail. The summer had just ended. I was super excited to go home, and my foreman wouldn't take me to the airport. I asked him over and over again, but he had things to do. So he finally was like, "What time's your flight?" So I told him. We race to the airport. We get there, and I look out, and it's a pretty small plane, and I wasn't sure they had a bathroom on there that could handle a number 2. So I looked at the lobby lounge area, and I was like, well, there's a lot of people here. I have lots of time. So, are you sure this is a good dinner story? So I go into the bathroom, and wouldn't you know it, it was 100 wiper. So I'm in there, and I'm like, this is just not cleaning. And so I keep cleaning and just going through toilet paper. I finally come outside, and there's no one in the lobby. And the flight only left once a day from Prince George to Calgary. So I come out, and my bag's already on the plane, and I look at the lady, and I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be on that flight. She's like, yeah, we closed the gate. I'm like, I was here. I just really had to go to the bathroom. So she's like, okay, well, we can try something. So she gets in her little handheld radio, and she calls out, and no response from the pilot. So, because this was like 97, she takes me out onto the runway, and we stand in front of the airplane. And she says, please, he says he really needs to get out of here. And so the pilot kept going like this out the window. And then finally, we weren't leaving, so finally he goes like this, drops his head, and he's like, oh, hits the button. It's one of those planes that has its own stairs they get on, right? So I get on the plane, and everyone's really annoyed that I've cost them 5 minutes of their life. So I get on, and I'm at the front of the plane trying to get my stuff in, and everybody's staring at me. So I turn around and I go, thank you, and I'm sorry. And everybody just laughs. And then I sit down, go back, I land, Aunt Ruth picks me up at the airport, and I tell her about this amazing story about how I held up an airplane, right? And she laughs and thinks it's funny. And then about 3 weeks later, or 2 weeks later, Uncle Eric comes home from a trip. And he says, you guys are not going to believe what the pilots were talking about in the pilot lounge. And Aunt Ruth looked at me, and she just starts going like this. And then Uncle Eric goes, there was this tree planter, and you probably know which story he told, who stood out in front of a plane and held up the plane and tells this whole story. And the whole time, Aunt Ruth is kicking my leg under the table going, And so, unless he watches this, he will never know that that was me that kept the plane from taking off